In the beginning of the movie we see the Kappa family going for a vacation on a resort. In their family there's Guy Kappa, his wife Priska, his 11-year-old daughter Maddox, and his 6-year-old son Trent. When they arrive at the resort they are welcomed by the resort staff with special cocktails. The kids roam around the resort, and at the candy bar they meet Idlib, his resort manager's nephew. He and Trent quickly become friends. After that the Kappa family goes to their room, and after settling in they go out to the beach to enjoy. At the beach Trent and Idlib go up to people and ask them their names and occupation for fun. Then in evening they return to their room. Guy and Priska seem to argue about something. Trent and Maddox are in the other room. Trent is reading a note that Idlib gave him. They both developed a code language and they were communicating with each other by using it. The next morning they were having breakfast and the manager comes up to them and asks about their plan for the day. They didn't have a particular plan, so the manager suggested them to visit a private beach that was on the island and only few people visit it. The Kappa family had nothing to do in particular, so they agreed to visit the private beach. Their attention shifts when a woman named Patricia starts having a seizure. A man named Charles, who is a doctor, helps her, and after few moments she gets better. After that the Kappa family hops in the van which is gonna take them to the private beach. The doctor from earlier, his wife Madrid, daughter Cara and mother Agnes are also going to the private beach. After just a few minutes drive they reach the private beach. The van driver gives them their stuff and tells them that he'll come back at 5 to pick them up. All of them start walking, and after a few minutes they reach the beautiful private beach surrounded by massive rocks. They set up their chairs and the kids start playing. Trent is swimming in the water when suddenly a dead body comes floating towards him and bumps into him. He gets terrified and starts running towards his mother. The people on the beach get the dead body out of the water and cover it up with a cloth. Another man named Sedan was on the beach. He claims that the dead girl went swimming on her own and didn't swim back. Charles suspects that he killed her. They try to call authorities and the hotel staff, but there was no reception on the beach. Just then another couple, Patricia and Jaron, arrive at the beach. Guy and Charles explain the whole situation to them, so Jaron decides to go back to the point where they got dropped off by the van driver to get some reception. When he goes through path between the rock that surrounded the beach he feels a sudden pressure on his head and he blacks out. When he regains his consciousness he is back on the beach. On the other side, Charles' mother Agnes is not feeling well, so he goes to check on her. While he is checking her, Priska approaches them and tells Charles that her kids are sick and they are having some kind of allergic reaction, so can he check them up? So they both leave. They are halfway there when Crystal screams that Agnes has stopped breathing. Charles sprints back and gives CPR to his mother and tried to revive her, but she was dead already. Charles mourns his mother's death. While all this happened, Priska goes back to where the kids were playing. Maddox and Trent were talking to Jaron and Patricia. She is shocked to see that her kids have grown significantly. Just then Guy approaches Priska and he is shocked to see his kids too. He says that we should leave this beach. While they are trying to make sense of the whole situation, Sedan tries to run away. Charles sees him and runs after him. Both of them go in the path between the rocks. They feel pressure on their heads and black out. When they regain consciousness they are back on the beach. All of them gather there. They start panicking because whoever tries to leave the beach through those paths blacks out, so they make a plan to split in groups of 2 and try to find a way out of the beach. They start searching, but whoever tried to leave lost their consciousness and ended up back on the beach. They try to make up another plan to leave the beach. Charles have a mental condition. He has a mental episode and start hallucinating that Sedan is trying to hurt him, so Charles pull out a knife and attack Sedan with it. Sedan thinks that Charles attacked him because he believes that he killed the dead girl, so Sedan tries to explain to the group that he didn't kill her, he just talked to her because he was sick and so was she. Patricia thinks that it's weird that everyone has some sort of sickness and they all were sent to the beach. They all try to find a way out. Jaron suggests that one of them should swim against the current to the nearby island and maybe they can find a way out from there. No one volunteers to do that because they think it's too risky. Patricia is a professional therapist, so she suggests that until they all come up with a way out they should talk about how they are feeling. While they all talk, Priska mentions that she has a tumor in her belly, so she was thinking about leaving her kids and husband because she didn't want them to suffer with her. As she is talking she faints and her tumor becomes bigger. Charles checks her up. He tells Guy that they have to remove her tumor right now or else she'll die. They decide to remove the tumor when Charles makes an incision on her stomach. The cut immediately seals up, so he makes another cut, and this time Guy puts his fingers inside to keep the wound open with the help of Jaron, who is a nurse. They successfully remove the tumor, but by the time they remove it, it was the size of a basketball. After the tumor is removed successfully, she regains her consciousness. Everyone is happy to see her, alive and well. On the other side, Sedan goes to check on the body of the dead girl. When he lifts up the cloth, he is shocked to see that only her skeleton is left and the rest has already decomposed. He calls everyone to check it out. Priska is a fossil expert, so she tells them that it takes at least 7 years for a body to decompose like this, so they figure out that time is moving faster on this beach and 30 minutes on this beach are equal to 1 year outside. Jaren says that their cells are growing fast, so they cannot go back through the path between the rocks because the cell cannot handle the sudden change in growth rate, and whoever tries to leave through the paths blacks out. Because the kids are growing so fast, they are always hungry. While the group was discussing about a way out, they notice that Trent and Kara aren't there, so they yell out for them. Both of them are on the other side of the beach.
When the group gets closer to them, they are shocked to see that Kara is pregnant. Because the time's moving so fast, she is about to deliver the baby in a matter of minutes. Kara's mother Crystal freaks out and runs away. With the help of Jaren and Charles, they deliver the baby, but it dies of some breathing problem. Trent and Kara are broken to see their kid die like that. Because of this whole experience, Charles has another mental episode and takes out his knife and stabs the ground repeatedly. After a few moments, Sedan was sitting alone. Charles suddenly attacks him and stabs him to death. The rest of the group is also scared for their lives. Guy and Jaren carefully take the knife out of Charles' hand and put it away. Jaren decides to swim out in sea to find a way out because his wife Priska had epilepsy and she needed her medication, so he swims out. The rest of the group thinks that they should try to climb up the rock and that way maybe they could get out. Trent volunteers to do it, but Priska doesn't want him to risk his life like that, so they just stand there and wait for Jaren to find a way out. While they are waiting, Maddox talks to her mother. She finds out that her mother was having an affair with another man. She gets angry and walks away. She gets in the water to clear her head. Suddenly Jaren's lifeless body bumps into her. They get the body out and now they are left with another dead person and no way out. Patricia mourns her husband's death. Trent goes to Kara, who is sitting in a corner holding her dead baby. Trent takes the baby from her and buries it in the sand. Suddenly Kara feels frustrated and decides to climb the rock to get out. Trent tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen and climbs up anyway. After climbing halfway, she blacks out and falls to her death. Trent cries at her death. Then the Kappa family gathers and asks Charles and Patricia to stay together. Patricia wanted to leave by swimming, but she has a seizure and dies then and there. Because they are aging, Guy's vision starts blurring and Priska's hearing becomes impaired. When the night falls, they make a bonfire to keep them warm. Trent and Maddox were searching for things to burn in the bags of the people who were there before them. They find a diary of a person. On the diary there were fictional stories, and on one page there were names and addresses of people who were there on the beach before them. On the other side, Guy and Priska were sitting by the fire when Guy hears someone approaching them, but he can't see who it is. It was Charles, who had gone mental at this point and he had gotten back his knife, so he attacks Guy and Priska with it. Guy distracts Charles and asks Priska to go and hide the kids somewhere safe. She hides them in a cave and goes back to save Guy. Trent and Maddox hear a noise in the cave. When Trent lights up a matchstick, he sees Crystal there. She had a calcium deficiency, so her bones had become weak and she was badly hunched. She was going to attack them with a rock. The rock falls and breaks her back and arm. It quickly heals in the wrong position. They both freak out after seeing that and try to get out of there. She chases them, but because of her weak bones, she almost breaks all of her bones and dies because of it. On the other side, Charles was attacking Guy and Guy was protecting himself with his arms. Just then Priska gets there and attacks Charles with a rusty knife. The rust gets into his bloodstream and he dies of an infection. Now only the Kappa family is left and everyone else had already died. They all sit by the fire. Some time passes and Priska and Guy die of old age. Now only Trent and Maddox are left alive on the beach. The next morning comes and now Trent and Maddox are well in their 50s. They must find a way out or else they won't survive another day on the beach. They both play in the sand and make sand castles, when suddenly Trent remembers that Edlub, the manager's nephew, had given him a secret message. He quickly gets out that page with the message and decodes it. It said, "My uncle hates the coral." So they figure out that the coral they see in the sea might be a way out. They say to themselves that we are gonna die anyways if we stay, so we might as well try to leave. They both swim in the river. When they reach the coral, they try to pass through it on a breath hold. They are passing through it when suddenly Maddox's shirt gets stuck. They both try to get it out but they can't. The van driver was watching both of them with a camera. When they both don't reappear on the surface, he assumes that both of them are dead. He packs his stuff and leave. Then he enters a lab where he sees the resort manager and tells him that everyone from Project 73 is dead. The manager then grabs everyone's attention and asks them to be silent for a minute to pay respect to the dead. After the 1-minute silence, it is revealed that the whole point of the lab is to find sick people and try new medicines on them and leave them on the beach to observe the effects of the medicine on them over the course of their lifetime. Then the manager mentions that their medicine for epilepsy was a success because Patricia didn't have a seizure for 8 hours, which are equal to 16 years in the normal world. On the other side, Maddox and Trent were alive and they get out of the beach through the reef and reach the resort. Then, Trent gives the diary that he found on the beach to a cop, who was on vacation at the resort. After validating the information, the cop calls for backup. The manager was welcoming new guests, probably for his next experiment, when Trent bumps into the waitress with the medicinal cocktail. Then he tells everyone about what they were doing to people and then he thanks Edlab, who helped him in getting out of the beach. The authorities arrive at the resort and arrest everyone involved in those experiments. Maddox and Trent also go back to their home. That marks the end of the movie. How was the movie? Let me know in the comments and please like and subscribe for more recaps like this.